The University of Detroit Mercy presents another brand new episode of Ask the Professor, the radio show on which you match wits with University of Detroit Mercy professors in an unrehearsed session of questions and answers. Today's program was recorded using Zoom video conferencing technology.
The University Tower chimes, ringing another session of Ask the Professor, the show on which you match wits with University of Detroit Mercy professors in an unrehearsed session of questions and answers. I'm your host, Matt Maggio, and let me introduce to you our panel for today. At the bottom of my screen, but something about the bottom of my heart, I'm trying really hard. It's Professor Beth Oljar.
What? I'm sorry.
We're introducing you, Beth. How you doing?
Hi, fine.
Excellent.
I'm politely reading a text I had just gotten instead of listening to the introduction. My bad.
Well, it's not bad at all. Frankly, you're, getting up there with all this new psychological research about just how much Zoom a human being can take, frankly.
Yeah.
It's not a lot.
Drew's been asking me what it's like to do this. And I'm like, well, it's like kind of being on the phone and being able to see the person. I mean, it's not, radically new technology.
That's right. Hey, what happened to the TV debut of your little friend?
Oh, Fiji?
Where did Fiji go?
He decided I had assaulted his dignity enough. And how a 16-year-old cat who used to, feed his catnip addiction by working at the Itchy Kitty has any dignity is beyond me. But he says he does, so.
That's right. I loved your reference the other day to the way that Kathy Bush used to refer to catnip as kitty reefer.
Kitty
crack, too.
Yeah. I can remember many New Year's evenings when Goofy got his kitty crack as part of his New Year's Eve treat.
Aw, so sad. So sad. We're moving onwards here. Again, we're following my screen because, that's the only screen that I can see. It's Professor Dave Chow, and boy, does he have food and drink galore today.
I am stockpiles.
Yes. With what? Can you tell us?
Was it Lost Something? Mara, help me out here. Was it Lost Something pierogies from Grand Rapids, Michigan?
Wish I could help you.
Anyway. There's a pierogi drive-through yesterday, and I picked up about 6 dozen. So,
all right, nice, very nice. Of lots of different flavors and stuffings, yeah. I would assume.
Yes.
Can you give us an example?
My wife got some sauerkraut and kielbasa one, risottos, some other sweet and sour deals, all kinds of weird oddities we're going to experiment on.
Nice, very nice.
I always get to rely on Dave. It's awesome.
What was that, Dave?
So if an ambulance pulls up in front of my house, please forgive me. You know who to blame.
Yep, I got it. Got it. Professor Heather Hill is here with us today. Heather, anything culinary, experimental, something new you've discovered in the world of DoorDash or Grubhub or something?
No.
Have you done any baking?
Lots of Stephen and I made cupcakes recently.
Very good. Very good.
Yes. So,
what kind?
They were what were they, Stephen?
Vanilla with vanilla icing, right?
Yeah, they were very vanilla.
Vanilla icing.
So wrong.
Cannot go wrong.
What are we making tonight? Korean meatballs?
Korean meatballs.
Ooh, that sounds good. With kimchi?
Possibly kimchi, yes. That's something that they suggest. Yes.
Oh, yes.
I have some, so kimchi, yes.
Do I need to swing by
and not bury it in the yard for 9 months? You've got some already fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah, what? That does take time, right?
But what? There was a Zoom synapse problem there. Jim,
that's all right.
Are you asking if there's kimchi already made?
You didn't have to bury the kimchi in the backyard for 9 months.
No. There was some in the refrigerator already.
Right.
Very nice. Yes. Very nice.
Buried in the refrigerator.
What goes into the Korean meatballs, Heather? Like, what is there? Like red pepper flake? Is that what's going to kick this up a notch?
I haven't looked at the recipe yet. I'm just sous chefing tonight. So
okay, got it.
The recipe there, Dr. Manning.
Roger that.
What's in the recipe, Dr. Manning?
I didn't know you were on duty tonight. You are?
I thought I was on sous chef duty tonight.
I haven't checked the schedule, but
Oh,
All right, we'll let them go and check the big board.
keep those knives sharp.
That's right.
Did have to buy Ritz crackers for the recipe. I know that.
Oh, interesting.
And there's a glaze. There's a glaze on the outside of it with what's with the glaze? I don't know. I haven't looked at the recipe for a few days. It's from the New York Times. You know, on Sunday they're doing this at-home section.
Mm-hmm.
They've eliminated the travel section because no one can travel, and they've replaced it with an at-home section which has a lot of interesting, funky stuff, including 5 recipes you can cook this week. And they're really interesting recipes, and a lot of these are based on things that they're assuming most people have in their homes already, so don't have to go shopping for it.
Okay.
What, like Cheerios casserole or something like that?
Huh?
that's tomorrow night, Dave.
Yeah, mock apple pie will be next. You never know. Thank you, Professor Stephen Manning. Professor Dan Maggio is here with us, too.
Hi, Matt. Great to be here.
What's shaking?
Not much. It's Friday.
Yay.
So looking forward to the weekend.
For what it's worth.
Yep. Same thing I did last weekend and the previous weekend and the previous weekend.
What's the weekend? What does that mean?
Get takeout and watch TV.
Okay. This is what you do Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, too, though.
Well, yeah, but I work a lot, too. So,
Okay.
but yeah, so looking forward to the next series or movie that we're going to watch on TV.
Excellent. What was the latest?
So we were watching Dead to Me on Netflix.
Right.
That's pretty funny. And then Beth suggested The Last Kingdom?
Mm-hmm.
That was Drew's recommendation.
Yes, so that's a definite, yeah. When you started the sentence, if you like
Game of Thrones.
And you'll like this, I was like, okay, yeah, I'd like this. So.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yep.
We're very, very happy to have a special guest panelist here today, but not to say that you're not special, Diane, but I mean, you're old hat at this. You know the way we do things, but it's so good to hear your voice and see your face again. Professor Diane Marica, we'll say from the Department of Arizona. How's that?
Oh, that's good. Arizona retirement is really what works best.
We're so up. Look at Dave's got his I Love Johnny mattress pin ready to go.
I love it.
So what have you been up to, Diane? It's been a while.
Well, the last 2 months, I haven't been much of anything. I've learned very well how to order things online. And I've also, Jim knows this, I've been watching an opera a day.
Oh, wow.
The Met is airing free streaming operas every day.
Okay.
So the other day I watched Jesse Norman and Kathleen Battle.
Was it good?
Yeah, it was excellent. And then tonight, Joan Sutherland is the star performer in Lucia de Lammermoor.
Oh yeah, she gets to go crazy in that one.
So I've just been enjoying that and some Broadway shows online and National Theater. Because I really miss, I had season tickets out here to the Broadway shows at ASU, and I miss all of that. Because I had season tickets to the Fisher for 100 years. So
that's right. I remember that. It's interesting, Diane. I think a lot of people who I talk to say something along the lines of there's this, not just when we say guilty pleasure pre-COVID-19, it might have been something you did once a month or once a week. And now everybody has something that they tend to do every day for that sort of like North Star kind of attitude, right?
Yeah. And I'm just enjoying the weather. Enjoying retirement. I'm actually enjoying an even more relaxed lifestyle.
Nothing wrong with that. We're so glad to have you here.
Thank you.
The difference in time zones, and we're going to introduce a couple more profs, and then we're going to have ourselves a good old time. Because, of course, we heard from reference to Professor Jim Tubbs, who is over in the upper right in my screen.
Howdy.
How are you doing, Jim?
You were talking about culinary discoveries. Yesterday, I made, because of what I had in the refrigerator, I made a Swiss cheese and pickle sandwich.
I bet it tasted great.
Have some
Yeah, it
hammer pork
tasted
and you got a
good.
Cubano there.
I had some bread and butter pickles, that were
Oh, I
sliced.
love bread and butter
Laid
pickles.
those out on top of the Swiss cheese and put mayonnaise on the bread. It was quite good, actually.
I love it. I love how all of these things that we've talked about with regard to food are really just about opening a cupboard or the fridge and being like, okay, what do I got?
What's there? That's the thing. What is there? Now, for an entertainment thing I wanted to share with all of you guys, if you go on the Facebook page for the Detroit Symphony Orchestra, there a lot of their members have posted videos of things that they're doing. Like, for instance, one of the principal trumpet player went out on his front porch and played the march from one of the marches from Star Wars. And so there are all kinds of things you can watch on there. It's basically their thanks to all of their donors. But there is a segment there of 6 members of the cello section, each playing one movement of a Bach suite for cello. And what's particularly enjoyable about that is the third movement is Wei Yu, the principal cellist. And while he's playing, his 6.5-month-old son, David, is bouncing up and down in one of those things that hangs from the ceiling beside him and chatting at him the whole time. They're a lot of fun to watch.
How cute.
I love
really
it.
accentuates the Bach, I'm guessing.
Yes, definitely.
Oh my. To round us all out here in terms of introductions, Professor Mara Livezey is here. And speaking of good things to eat, I believe it's gone at this point, right? The cookie you were eating?
Oh, yes. My oatmeal chocolate chip cinnamon chip cookie is long gone.
Ooh.
That is a good combo. I was just saying to my family the other day, somebody makes like a prepared flavor ice cream that's called oatmeal cookie, and it just reminds me of what you were saying. And I would pretty much go out for ice cream every night as long as the sun is out. Gotta fight gotta resist that as long as I possibly can.
I always make sure to have 2 tubs of Costco vanilla laying around.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Never know.
The apocalypse ice cream.
That's right. Awesome. Well, it's so good to see and hear all of you. I think all the listeners know this is a program where you can send us questions regarding anything. If you stump the panel, you win a prize. If you don't stump the panel, you win a prize. You can send us the questions in a number of ways. You can email us at atp@udmercy.edu. You can reach us on the web at udmercy.edu/atp. Find us on Facebook, or if you so dare, listen on your favorite smart speaker by asking it to play Ask the Professor at University of Detroit Mercy. We have a set of questions here that were sent in. I believe this is one of your former students, Professor Livezey, Hannah Vora from Biochem 1 last fall. And 10 random questions in an attempt to stump the panel. So Hannah would be, at this point, she'd be a rising senior, and she lives in Detroit, Michigan. So thanks for sending them in, Hannah. Let's see what we can do with these. Which blood type is the rarest in the United States?
Maybe negative.
That is exactly what it says. How do you know that?
I don't, one of those random pieces of knowledge from semester of anatomy and physiology, I think.
That's awesome.
Biology, and I paid attention in science class.
Yeah, absolutely. What's killing me is that I kind of want like that follow-up sentence that says, because of blah, blah, blah in the environment, this is true, but all I really have is the correct response here. It's interesting.
I keep waiting for Dan to chime in and say it's Vulcan blood, that's all.
Oh, right. Exactly.
Right, Dan?
Exactly.
Yes.
His liver's where his heart should be, or, whatever Dr. McCoy used to say.
The next question about which blood type is the universal donor?
Now that's an O, right?
Negative.
That's O negative.
Oh, negative.
No, this one is actually interesting. I gotta say, in all the world of trivia that I've been exposed to, I've never heard this before. So, lighter-haired humans versus darker-haired humans, one of them actually has more total follicles, more actual hairs. Is it light or dark?
I say
Lighter.
dark.
It's got to be dark.
Lighter.
almost 50-50 here. No, it says it's blondes. It says it's lighter hair has more hairs. Isn't that interesting?
Is that true blondes or real or made blondes?
I'm going to say this is genetic, Professor Marica. But what was that dance you were doing, Heather? That was interesting.
I guess I'm happy to find out I have more follicles.
Who wouldn't be?
Oh, I'm so sad to be dark-haired.
What about redheads?
Yeah, there is no further data here, but that would be a good question.
They don't have any souls, so there's not much point in counting.
What did you say, Dr. Oljar?
True.
Okay, try this one on
ginger
for
kids,
size.
they don't have any souls.
Oh, okay.
How about this? So we understand that there's just over 200 bones in an adult human body, but when you're born, you have quite a bit more. How many is that?
7 or 8 more, is it? I think.
Quite a bit.
213 or 14 instead of 206.
It's quite a bit more.
Oh,
300.
Yeah, Professor Livezey hit it. It's 300 bones when you're born.
You're kidding.
Bones.
Wow.
They all start like fusing together.
Right?
Wow.
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah,
You got
different plates. Yeah, before at birth.
right. I was thinking it's like you got to be kind of loosey goosey to be born.
Wormy.
It's
Wormy.
something.
Is that why they say babies bounce when they drop?
Good point. Very good point. Yes. What are you going to say, Dan?
Baby humans or baby birds?
Baby, all kinds of babies.
All right,
Lots of them.
we're gonna get a lot of mail about redheads and babies.
Oh my gosh. What was the first daily comic strip that was published in the United States? We definitely are all over the map with this question set.
Blondie.
Yellow Kid.
It's not Blondie. It's not Yellow Kid.
Cancer Chamber Kids?
It says here that it's 2 names, an M name and a J name.
Oh, Molly and something? No.
Mm-mm. The M word is when we talk about, a dog that has sort of ambiguous heredity.
Angie.
Jeff is what it says here.
Mutton Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
What mammal has the largest heart?
Elephant.
Whale.
It's the whale. It says here that the whale beats the elephant by almost 2 times in terms of mass, which is incredible when you think about it. I mean, that would be like a human being sized organ, which is crazy to think about, right? Absolutely crazy. What are you shopping for if you're using a Brannock device?
Shoes, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah, it's a shoe sizer. Is a Brannock device. Very well done. Somebody was studying last night. I don't know what's going on here.
I was hanging out at Red Wing Shoes, that's all. So
Hanging out at Red Wing Shoes.
I didn't know that thing had a special name, although it makes no
We've
sense.
all used it.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So we've got another set. Thank you very much, Hannah, for sending in those questions. We've got some other questions here that are sent in by Marianne Carcaba. And she doesn't indicate where she's from, but we'll see what people can do. These are some interesting questions that she thinks a political science professor might be able to answer the best. So we'll see what that means.
Luckily, we have one of those here.
Yep.
We are very,
No pressure, Steve.
no pressure, Steve.
You know I'm retiring, right?
I know.
I figured you were just going to go like this and be like,
That's my excuse.
Well, let's start with a little bit of a softball. I'm pretty sure that everybody has a good sense of the difference between a felony and a misdemeanor.
Felony is more serious.
Absolutely.
3 years.
Is that the only difference?
It says here the letter of the law is that a felony might result in 1 or more years in prison, where misdemeanors usually do not result in a prison sentence. I don't make the rules. I don't make the rules.
Good
Although I'm starting to
know.
look in Professor Oljar's direction too, because I feel like all of those wonderful pre-law students you have would have a little bit, on this question set here too. In tort law, what makes a case civil?
It's between individuals. The state is not a party.
That's what it says here.
And it has a different standard of proof.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it says. Completely different standard of proof, individual versus individual. Very cool.
All right, man. I thought you said tart law. I was getting hungry again.
I know. We can't stop talking about food around here. Oh my gosh.
A tort is a breach of law that, other than breach of contract, it's a law for which an action for which the law provides redress, but it's not a breach of contract. So when somebody slips in your driveway and they want to sue you for negligence, that's a tort claim.
Got it. It was really big in the media like 5 or 6 years ago. We were just hearing all about tort law all over the place for some reason. I can't remember.
Healthcare. That's why.
There you go. Try this one. What is the term that is referred to when one part of a case becomes resolved, everything associated with the case automatically becomes resolved?
All for one?
One for all.
One for all.
That's not what it says.
Not in toto?
No, it is a Latin phrase. The two words start with R and J.
Right. So the first word's got to be res, right?
Absolutely.
Res juris.
Res judicata.
It actually says res judicata is what it says. Yes. I can't think of anything like I'm going through all of my watching of Law and Order and saying, have I ever actually seen this take place on TV? You know,
Perry Mason ever gotten on this?
How about the main difference between a first-degree murder and a second-degree murder?
Malice aforethought.
Malice aforethought. Yeah.
Yep.
Mens rea requirement is different.
That's right. Premeditation versus just intention. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Let's see what we got here from Marianne. These are pretty hardcore. I really do feel like I wasn't paying attention back in the Michael Moriarty seasons whenever I see stuff like this. When an escaped prisoner was caught camping in the woods, it was a clear case of
parole violation at minimum, but
actually it's a pun.
Criminal trespass.
I believe that what they're going for is it was criminal intent.
Oh.
Basic road line, if ever there was one.
I didn't know.
Came out of nowhere. Which party gives the opening statement, the first opening statement in a jury-based trial?
Plaintiff.
Mm-hmm. It does say plaintiff. Mm-hmm. Let's see. In criminal law, what does it mean when someone pleads the Fifth Amendment?
It means they have a right not to
answer questions.
Self-incrimination.
Mm-hmm. Self-incrimination. You don't want to incriminate yourself in what's being discussed. That's right. Define the word from a legal perspective, the word solicit.
Ask for?
Invite.
Yeah, I think we're all in the wheelhouse. You know, it depends on whether you commit to an illegal act, but you know, all those things are sort of part of that.
So that's close enough.
Yeah, I'm giving it. Oh no, this is classic. I'm looking in heaven.
I just want to hear you say it.
That's totally close enough. Totally.
It's a leaner.
Aside from local, what is known as the lowest court?
District.
It does say U.S. District Court is the lowest level court, depending on how many different ladder rungs we climb there. Let's see. Evidence that would prove someone's innocence is also known as
exculpatory.
Right.
I actually didn't hear what's here. It says alibi, but I think you're actually correct. Close enough. That's what I say.
Thank you.
Having an alibi is one way you can have is one type of exculpatory evidence would be how I would put it.
How about this one? I definitely have never heard this before. Like the old well, it's not the question. Which state of the union has a legislature? It sort of feels like it's in that wheelhouse. There is a state in the union that does not follow common law. Which is it? Yeah, that's right. Louisiana. Do we have any background on that?
They have parish law instead, because it was predominantly settled by the French. What do you know about that?
So
I think that's interesting.
So what's maybe a main difference between that and what you would see in Michigan?
Precedent would function differently. What defines common law systems typically is their reliance on precedent. I think, I'd have to double check this, but I think in parish law, there's much more of a reliance on the statute as written instead of the case law that has been subsequently based on it. But I have to check. I'm not 100%.
The furthest my knowledge would have taken me until this moment, Beth, is realizing that they don't have counties in Louisiana; they have parishes. But
my grandma lived there, so
yeah, there you go. So this is good because it's sort of like knock you over the head obvious, but not in the way the question is being asked. What is the term of a crime you can be, accused of that is you didn't actually complete the crime, but you intended to? It was sort of incomplete by two or more people.
Sloppy?
Conspiracy.
It says conspiracy. Yeah, conspiracy to commit. Versus actually committing, in the immortal words of Sideshow Bob from The Simpsons, did they give a Nobel Prize for attempted chemistry? I mean, what's attempted murder between friends? Those were very cool questions.
The law of attempts and whether or not it really does make. I mean, we all know that it makes sense to punish a completed murder more than an attempted murder, but it turns out to be a lot trickier to say why that's the case than you might think.
No, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Spoken like someone who teaches the subject. So thanks a lot, Marianne, for sending those questions in. We'll find a way to contact you. I'm pretty sure that we have your email. Oh, and gosh, I missed one of the most important things. I thought it was an embedded question. It says her grading scale was 12 of 20. So I think we're good.
We're good.
We are good to go. I like that. I like that grading scale.
Thanks to Beth.
Yeah. People know their, crime dramas. We had a few other people sort of chime in there. So I think it's time for one of our favorite little bits on the show, ATP favorites.
Oh.
And we're going to need Professor Diane Marica. Could you help us by giving us a quick sort of umbrella subject that you'd like to hear all of our individual favorites about?
Oh, okay. How about a topic that's really dear to our hearts out here? Water in the United States.
Oh, interesting. Very, very interesting.
We're having a lot of discussion here, newspapers and otherwise, on shortages of water and increase of populations.
So your population is quite a bit on the rise out in that area, right?
Absolutely. House values are skyrocketing, even in this economy. And there are parts, not where I'm living, but parts of the metropolitan Phoenix area that rivers are running low.
Oh,
so how do we conserve, save, and plan for the future? How's that for a topic?
Yeah, that's...
A few rivers in California, that might be a way to start.
Yep. California is really in trouble.
Sure.
My understanding is that it takes an enormous amount of water to grow almonds.
Right.
Yes, well, should get rid of the almond farms and the golf courses and all the other stuff that's not essential to life. Mm-hmm. And stay away from the Great Lakes.
Yeah. Oh, come on now.
I don't think there's a hose or a pipe long enough to, even take that little corner of Lake Michigan.
You give some entrepreneur a chance and you'd be surprised what you find.
So. Tell that to Nestle.
Diane, I would recommend that they turn off that huge fountain up north of you
Yeah, that doesn't belong to my community. Make that very clear.
Got to be careful with our precious resources here.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Actually, we had Arizona really has taken some major steps over the last 20 years with the saltwater project here, and that's how I get my energy. But California never did that back when we started, so that's why they're running into such huge difficulties now.
Okay.
And we're even running into some problems. And Beth, you're right. It's how do you grow what crops here in the kind of heat and dryness
where people need to make drainage off a river, where they need to drain some amount of water off a river so they can divert it to their crops. Then there's a question about how much you allow people
right
do that, and how. I mean, that was a huge deal in the development of the West when riparian rights, as they're known, became such a big deal. If you were living along the Platte River, which has like literally no water, right? It's a mile wide and an inch deep. People's access to it was sort of quite legally contested for a long time.
So now it's an aquatic tragedy of the commons, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we appreciate you bringing it up, Diane, because people come to this show to learn all sorts of fun stuff.
This isn't so much fun, but
unfortunately, our time is up, and the time has come to say goodbye. Mr. Livezey.
See you later.
Professor Manning.
Bye, Matt.
Professor Tubbs.
Goodbye.
Professor Marica.
bye now.
Professor Maggio.
Goodbye.
Professor Hill.
Bye-bye.
Professor Chow.
See ya.
Professor Oljar.
Bye.
And now these words from University of Detroit Mercy. Ask the Professor is transcribed to the facility. No, it's not. It's transcribed in all of our homes. That's where it's transcribed from.
Right.
And it's produced and technically directed today by Michael Jason and Brian Masonville. Our executive producer is Professor Jason Roach. Until next week, I'm your host, Matt Mayo.